trying to do this a little more often, so going live is the easiest way to do so while I work and commute and do the things I need to do. And this morning, I want to talk about, I got to see the Avengers Doomsday trailer, number 3, the X-Men. And I watched the leak on Twitter. I'll admit, I did watch the leak on Twitter first. But seeing it with the clarity really makes it even that much better. Hearing the music that goes with it. See, I tell you one thing, seeing the X-Men with the Avengers theme playing in the background is highly underrated, because that cements the idea and the fact that almost all of the characters are one umbrella. Like we're getting what, essentially, for me as an X-Men fan, we're getting what I've been waiting for the last 6 years. Well, now it's 2026, almost 7 years. We're getting, kind of what I wish they would have done, but maybe they couldn't because of contracts or whatever the case may be. But getting the Fox X-Men, and the fact that they're bringing back as many of the original characters as they can. Now, I did hear yesterday that we know Famke Janssen and Halle Berry won't be back. They declined. They probably wanted more money. It's one of those things where it's just like, it's Disney, they can afford to pay us, and Disney's like, nah, we got a budget because we got 100 characters in this, so we can't pay you 10 million or 5 million a piece or whatever it is they probably wanted. So all due respect to them, because business is business, and maybe they don't want to cost their character, or maybe they write it in such a way in which they just end up in Secret Wars. Because that's the thing nobody talks about with this, is that the fact that Secret Wars is coming as well, and Secret Wars has to be even bigger than Doomsday. So you're not going to put everything in Doomsday, but you do have the X-Men. And the one thing I think that Marvel did great was they introduced Monica Rambeau in the universe, the 10,005 universe, okay? So they kind of let you know that those will be their version of the Fox X-Men. Now the question is starting to start whether or not if the 10,005 universe is actually the universe from Days of Futures Past, which I would argue is not. I don't think it is, but it could be. But I see here, and this is where I think it's wrong. In that 10,005 universe, we did have the same Colossus from the old X-Men, and you had Kitty Pryde. They're probably not bringing them back and won't show them. And then you have Gambit in the mix with Channing Tatum, and he's going to be in this movie. So I think what Marvel is doing is saying the 10,005 universe is going to be the X-Men if we had done them originally. Like if it wasn't Fox X-Men and we had started our own X-Men and they were in their own universe. That's a clever way of getting around the fact that this is the X-Men you remember, but this isn't the exact same X-Men because it's not that exact same universe. Or maybe they would just say that's what the universe was, but the fact that everybody's in comic accurate costumes will lead me to believe that it's not their universe. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they also said that Deadpool was in the 10,005 universe, and that's where he and Wolverine are now at. So you have to ask yourself then, okay, from the Deadpool movies, if that is the 10,005 universe this whole time, because Deadpool, even though he was with Fox, Ryan Reynolds always stuck to the comic accurate or more comic accurate version of all the characters he did, which is why there was a different Colossus in that universe. So I don't think that I don't think this is the Days of Futures Past universe. I think that what they're saying is that the whole Deadpool universe from Deadpool 1, 2, and 3 are all 10,005, and then that's the universe we're going to be getting all the characters from. And then I'll be interested to see, like, going forward, are they going to try to keep these characters, or when they reboot, like, is Sadie Sink really going to be Jean Grey and we're going to just reboot and go from there? This is the kind of stuff that gets you hyped. This is the kind of stuff that Endgame and Infinity War kind of brought to the table. And this is what gets you hyped and ready for the next chapter of the MCU. Now, for me as an X-Men fan, losing my camera. For me as an X-Men fan, I don't mind if they they want to go younger. So if Sadie Sink is going to be the new Jean Grey, cool. I want the 5 originals in some sort of way. They don't have to have the first movie be about the 5 originals, but I want that to be set up. So it's like they were saying that her name would be, I think it was Marvel Girl or something. Give us Jean, Cyclops. They'd probably be the new members. Give us Iceman. Give us Angel. Give us Beast. Whether or not you tell a story with those 5, or if you start the movie off with those 5, and then we get Angel leaving, and we get Iceman leaving, and then you tell the original X-Men story, the first movie, about bringing in Storm, bringing in Rogue, Gambit, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Kitty Pryde. Like, you could have a new class come in and have the movie be about the new X-Men, but you still, like, within that movie, tell the story of the original 5, like in the opening act, and at least set that up. Because if you set that up correctly, then we'll know, hey, and really they should have been that there's, okay, Iceman's gonna spin off and pop up in a Spider-Man, or he's gonna pop up somewhere else. Angel might go away for a movie or 2, but we'll check back in with him and we'll see how he becomes Archangel, and we'll start setting up Apocalypse. Because if you start off with Sinister, eventually you're going to get to Apocalypse. So it's like you might as well start setting that stuff up now. Plus you got to get into the whole Cable of it all, the Summers. Like, they really have a chance to do all this right. And if X-Men is going to be the next saga, like, I'd like to see them do the Mutant Saga, then after the Mutant Saga, do the Phoenix Saga. Question is, what do you do with the Avengers while you're doing that? Because I've said yesterday, you only have so much bandwidth. It's kind of what Disney is telling us, right? So you kind of have to pick who you're going to tell your stories about, and you got to know what to put on TV. Like, I still hate that they wanted to put their movie characters on TV instead of just using the TV universe to enrich that's to enrich your universe and be the payoff, for the fans who do watch it. But just keep your movie stuff not necessarily separate, but just like in its place, and everything should be in its place. So I do feel like, me personally, I do feel like the X-Men, if you're gonna do the Mutant Saga, there's so many spin-offs. There's so many spin-offs that you can do with the X-Men that you could really do this right, but you gotta keep your Avengers going. So there should be no, really, maybe I should make a different video about this, but there should have been an Avengers movie or hint in Civil War. When they did Captain America Civil War, the Avengers we never got, the team that we never got, is who they started off Civil War with. But missing from that team was Rhodey and who was it? Vision. If they would have had Rhodey and Vision with Cap and Black Widow and Scarlet Witch and Falcon, we would have saw those 6. And that was an Avengers team. Like, after Age of Ultron, that was the new Avengers team. We should have gotten to see them as an Avengers team. And then you start saying, okay, we pick, and what they should have done, when they were successful, when Marvel hit its stride, we had Iron Man, Cap, and Thor. They got their trilogies, they got their movies, they got their storyline. And why they did this, I don't know. But Kevin Feige should have just said, okay, who's the next 3? They kind of did that. They said Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Spider-Man, and then Doctor Strange. So you really had 4, which, you had Hulk. Okay, so you have those 4. Those 4 got to get a trilogy, right? That's who they should have been focused on going into after Infinity War and Endgame. That should have been the 4. And then it's like, if the Avengers team changes from the 6 that we got after Age of Ultron, cool, whatever. So if you're gonna do X-Men and the Mutant Saga, how I would do it, I would do an X-Men movie, which they're planning to do, like right after, coming soon. But also, you have your tent poles, and the tent poles have changed now. So it's like your three things, your three tent pole or like big IP that should be going along with Avengers is Spider-Man, X-Men, and Fantastic Four. That's who you focus on. Every year, we should be getting 2 movies from the 4 of them. And they should just separate. Like if you want to do a movie every 3 years, okay, we'll have an Avengers movie, and then in that same year, we'll have a Spider-Man movie, like we got next year, right? Okay. After we get done with Secret Wars, we should be getting the X-Men movie and a Fantastic Four movie. And then that next year, we should be getting a Spider-Man movie and an Avengers character movie to clean out their trilogy. So if you're only going to do 2 movies a year, you have to stagger those 4 tent poles and loop them around, and then you pick your 3 main Avengers, and then have their story be the Avengers leading to what the next Avengers is going to be until you change teams. So my thought would be, okay, the first Avenger out the gate, finish up his trilogy, Doctor Strange. So boom, we got X-Men, we got Spider-Man, we got Fantastic Four, we got Doctor Strange. Then it should be, then you start to rotate. We should be getting our 3rd Black Panther, and then we should be getting a 3rd Captain Marvel. Haters hate, whether you like it or not. There's a way to tie her story in and or end it, because we need Rogue. And that's, bruh, you don't have to do it that way, but it's just like, you can now if you want. So you can tie all that into each other on TV. And see, here's the thing too with the X-Men thing, you should have spinoffs. So it's like if each tent pole, I put it this way, out of all the tent poles, Spider-Man and Fantastic Four don't need spinoffs. Their movies are their tent pole. So like any characters or anything you want to do, their spinoffs will have to come from the characters that are in their world. And really, with the Fantastic Four, their spinoff would be Silver Surfer, and I don't want to see Silver Surfer on TV. I want him with a movie budget. But there's plenty of Spider-Man Rogues Gallery that they need to introduce and just enrich his world in general, and then just kind of have his world off to the side in the bigger Marvel universe, which they're just taking forever to do. It's just like, I kind of feel like they wasted a lot of bandwidth on the first 3 Spider-Mans, because they don't have the rights to Spider-Man to just enrich the world like they can with all his Rogues Gallery. Because you could think about it, if Spider-Man was under Marvel and not Sony, we could have had the Shocker from Homecoming pop back up in Daredevil, in Hawkeye. Like, you could have Spider-Man's, he has so many bad guys that you need to set up and have in his world. You can use other street characters to have those guys pop up in and introduce us to. So maybe like now we have a White Tiger, like if a White Tiger runs into him or whatnot, like we're about to get Tombstone, like don't waste that actor, man. Like have him pop up in another street character, in Luke Cage, in, there should be Heroes for Hire. And look, and here's the thing, and I know I'm just rambling, I'm going off the top on these, but you should be doing the same thing with your TV characters that you're doing with the movie characters. So it's like from Daredevil and the Defenders, how they did before, instead of everybody getting a show, just pick 2 or 3 street characters and then rotate them. So you can have your season 1 every other year, season 1, then do a Jessica Jones, then come back with Daredevil season 2, then do another Jessica Jones. And then when they're done, now let's go into the Daughters of the Dragon, and let's maybe do Heroes for Hire, and then rotate those guys for a couple seasons, and then just, and then that way you can kind of figure out what works, what doesn't, but just move from there. But just stick to those characters, and then we only need to see them cameo in movies and stuff, and that's like, for a fan, that's like, I'm fulfilled. But going back to the X-Men trailer, seeing Cyclops with the suit, seeing the Sentinels, And I always said, like, the way the Sentinel program worked, if you're doing great storytelling, you can have, and I think that's what they might be about to do now that Iron Man is Doom, him controlling or having some sort of creation with the Sentinels, because the Sentinels always kind of reminded me of like an off-brand like Iron Man suit. They were like big Iron Man robots. So it's like you could really set up your X-Men very, very well and just have that be a thing. If they're going to recast Iron Man, depending on how they want to do it, and you bring in Trask some sort of way, and you can have them hunting down mutants, but it's like they stole the Stark technology, and you know what I mean? Like you could really do some dynamic storytelling with that. But just seeing Cyclops in his comic accurate suit with the Sentinels in the background and the school, man, I hope they don't F this up, man. I really hope they don't mess this up. I put it like this. The Russo brothers are not going to mess this up. I trust the Russo brothers. I think they get better and better with time. I know that Kevin Feige wanted to hand it off to the Guardians of the Galaxy director's name escapes me right now. I don't know why, but I blame it on COVID. But he's gone, and now he has experience running a studio, so he still might get it, because let's face it, WB's a mess. He doesn't know if he's gonna have a job next year. He's like making movies, not even knowing if he's gonna be able to finish it. He'll come back to Marvel if that happens. But I think that if Kevin Feige was smart, and maybe he wants to step down, I think maybe now he understands, I got to give this to the Russos and let them head it. Whoever's directing the Avengers movies kind of has to be the head figure for all the other directors and producers you pull in. Like everything's kind of has to flow through them, because if you let them dictate, narrate the story for the whole universe, so everything leads to Avengers, that's what's going to keep your universe intact and keep it great. And then it's just like, yeah, you know, other directors can tell their stories and do what they want, X, Y, Z, but we just want to be in on the loop because we have ideas that we may want to do with that character, and then that way you can use a collaborative. You should definitely let the Russo brothers do all the Avengers movies until they want to quit, and then with each saga, like they're staying on for the mutant saga, good, so that in that way we get some cohesiveness with everything. I just hope that Brad Winderbaum is also included in all of this, so we don't have the problem that we had before with Marvel TV and Marvel Studios. Because it's funny, everybody talks about the burnout of Marvel Studios, this, that, and the third. When Marvel was at its peak, they were doing 3 movies a year, okay? It was before they got to 4, but they were doing 2 to 3 movies a year. But how many TV shows did they have running simultaneously? I mean, they had, and it's because, you know, even, and you could say we don't have so much bandwidth. Well, Disney had the bandwidth to do it before. It's not like Marvel Studios was different than Marvel Entertainment, but they were still all under Disney. And Jeff Loeb, for all, you know, for what you want to say about Jeff Loeb was running about 6 or 7 shows at a time. Like he was doing all of the Defenders. That's 5 shows. Plus the Defenders, all on Netflix. He was doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was doing Agent Carter. He was doing Runaways. He was doing Cloak and Dagger. He was doing, what was the dark one? Hellstrom. He was doing Hellstrom. And then, on top of that, with the help of Fox, in association with Marvel, they still had Legion. They had The Gifted. It can be done. And when you're doing this mutant saga, I personally will keep X-Men or the Uncanny X-Men. I would give them a name or whatnot. And then I would do the X Factor or something like that on the small screen. Even like an Alpha Flight show on the small screen running simultaneously. Like some sort of X-Men. I would have 2 or 3 X-Men shows running concurrently, like I would with Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. I would have like a mutant part of it, and then I'd have my, you know, street side Avengers part of it, and I'd have them just, you know, every season. And you can do it more low budget. You can do, it's hard to do mutants low budget, but I think that they could, it's been done, and they can do something that will add to the universe and enrich the universe. I guess that's my point. So, Avengers Doomsday trailer, it feels like this is just the beginning, and maybe they're getting back on track because of the Russos and, you know, everybody else that comes from that. I think the Russos have not failed me yet on not one character, in my opinion. Some people would say Smart Hulk, some people would say Fat Thor. They didn't like him. The one thing that Russos understand is commitment. When they tell the story, they commit to telling that story, and they all always understand the characters. Marvel always understands their characters, whether you like how it comes out or not. Like with She-Hulk, she was still She-Hulk. It wasn't like Fox where we were getting like somebody else with the She-Hulk name. So the Russos have not failed. They're going to do the X-Men justice. They're going to do the Avengers justice. They're going to do the Fantastic Four. I think Doomsday is going to make everybody fall back in love with every single character from Marvel. And that's why I hope that they, I know Tatiana Maslany does not want to play She-Hulk, but, and even with the recent news with what happened to the Wasp actress, Evangeline Lilly, not wanting to play, they may have to recast those characters, but those characters should be in at least Secret Wars, if not Doomsday, and let the Russo brothers just put their hands on them and give them that touch of gold and then send them off on their own adventures or on their way. But that's how I feel. That's how excited this Doomsday trailer, this particular one, has done for me. The other ones were okay, but this X-Men one, and I think they're saying the fourth one is a Fantastic Four one. I'm gonna be interested to see how they handle the Fantastic Four. I thought Matt Shackman did a great job with them. They should definitely keep him on to do other things, or do something else, because WandaVision is still my favorite between WandaVision and Loki. Those are the best Disney Plus shows they've done. So they got to keep who they can. They should have not let Jack Schaefer go. Like Agatha, for all the hate and people who didn't want to love it and didn't want to, that was a great show. If you didn't like it, you know, you have a problem. That was still a great show. I mean, it's one thing to say it's not for me. You know, it wasn't targeted for me. It wasn't for me or whatnot. I get that. I understand that. But to try to like shit on the show and try to say that it was not a great show, to me, that's you just being a hater at that point. Like, you could just say it was, you know, it was okay, but it wasn't for me. But her talent is undeniable. She should be working on a House of M movie soon. They're taking way too long to get the X-Men going, but anything, like, Wanda at this point deserves her own movie. Like, she's graduated to where she needs a movie. It should be Jack Schaefer doing it. My points. But anyway, back Doomsday trailer. Let me know what you think down in the description. If you like it, if you think it's back, if you think, you know, they cooking, let me know. Until next time.